NRCS today.
Yep.
So why don't you bring us up to date? Understand USDA still exists.
Yes, sir.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad to hear that. So
Yeah.
why don't you tell us what's what?
Okay. So right now we are working on fiscal year 26 applications. We have some practices that we don't see too much in Hancock County. Some soil health and pasture applications have come through, ag waste and irrigation. The application deadline is August 22nd, 2025. What I've seen in the past year and a half is a lot of those applications start to roll in right around the deadline. But for the IRA activities, we really don't have any updates from last month. So what's happening now is any contract that's been officially obligated under IRA funding, we can move forward with those, and we have been. The pause is still in effect for those fiscal year 25 applications that were not officially obligated. And we hope to hear news on that soon, to continue funding for those pre-approved applications, but no word as of yet. Right now, we're really continuing to work on signing those applications for fiscal year 25 and working on our current contracts, working on construction, design, checkouts for all those practices. The deferred resignation program started before the reduction in force. So 1/3 of NRCS main staff has requested the deferred resignation program. Nobody in the Ellsworth office took that request. Right now, the USDA is working on the reduction in force and the reorganization. Right now, the plan's been submitted to OPM and OMB for approval, and we do not know if that's been accepted yet, and we hope to know more in the coming months. NRCS has a new chief. Chief as Aubrey Bedencourt, and April 27th will be NRCS's 90th anniversary. So in our office, we're going to have a cake to celebrate. I know there's going to be a Teams meeting for the state office staff and other field offices around to connect on that. So that's a positive note for the NRCS.
Yeah. So these reductions in force, are they going to impact your ability to get work done?
No, we're going to continue to do the best work that we can.
Yeah. So we'll see, I guess.
Exactly.
Matthew, I'm going to outdo myself in the obnoxious question department here. And so I'll apologize up front. Given, Mark, what you just shared a few moments ago about us replacing Jeff, and sort of a change in direction in that, now how we want to firm that up. I guess my question is this, Matthew: if you get wind of or word of an individual that does get riffed, that may be technically qualified, and we might be able to provide a solution for that person. One, if that becomes available, would you think it would be prudent to sort of bring us together in that sense?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really discuss personnel issues in the an open session, but so I'm stating it obliquely. But if there's someone who's at risk of losing gainful employment, and we have this potential, I'd like to see it mutually beneficial.
No, and that's appreciated. I think any opportunity out there for employees that are potentially let go would be appreciated and considered. We really don't know what it looks like at this point in time.
Do you know when you might know? Are you expecting another update sometime?
I mean, this could be into the fall. We really don't know at this point because it's more than just NRCS Maine.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys have your own network. So if we had a position, you could post that so that NRCS employees, existing and former, would be able to see it. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah, I think we're able to share that information. But I can certainly check.
Yeah.
And if
Okay.
not, like we can share it with MACD, and I think a good percentage of offices are co-located with, the district employee, so
Yeah.
could do
Yeah,
both,
that's true.
hopefully.
So Jan Jesperson mentioned that Alex Long advertised a DEP position for the 319 program and had a bunch of applicants. And I know Alex when I was working with DEP. So I may call him and ask him if he had any applicants from our part of Maine and whether or not he would be willing to share contact information. So I think, so Jeff has been wonderful for us and he's going to be awfully hard to replace, but I think there's some avenues that we can look at where hopefully we can find somebody good.
Good. I appreciate your being open to considering that, both you, Matthew, and you, Mark, and everyone else. That it might just work out for us.
Yeah. So just as an aside, Andrew, I love your new office. It's a little better than the pit that you were working in.
Well, I'm still in that pit. It's just a little more background. This being Easter uprising week. That's Kilmaine in Dublin. So
Okay. Okay, yeah. So thank you, Matt. Any questions
Thank
for
you.
NRCS? Okay, seeing none, I guess we'll move on. Did everybody have a chance to read the notes from our last meeting?
Yeah.
Did they look,
I'll move the minutes as submitted.
Second.
okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
So that was Ant.
Yep.
So all in favor, please so indicate. So it looks like everybody. Thank you. So that was easy. Moving on to treasurer's report, Ant.
Yep. I'm not sure what to do. I have myself on my mobile. I have myself one time here and another time here, and I'm getting a lot of echoes. I logged in right at 8 o'clock and my camera's not working. So I'll keep working on it as we go.
We can see you.
We can see and hear
Yeah.
on your Zoom.
Yeah, I can see all of you, and I
Yeah.
see myself instead of seeing you. Once in a while, myself is the only thing I see. So,
Let me know if you want me to share any of the reports you're talking about. If
yeah,
that's
you
helpful.
put up the BVA.
The BVA? Okay.
Yeah. Start with the statement.
Statement of financial position? Okay.
And I guess I'd like to highlight that we are meeting on here on the 4th Wednesday. After the research that I asked Mary to do, and she sent around, the meeting time seems to be the 4th Wednesday of the month, although I didn't see an official motion to that effect. And that could be in
You still want to look at the minutes from January to April, because maybe something was determined then, because something changed between 2023 and 2024, and I just don't have those minutes.
Yeah.
But Mark's gonna track them down.
Yeah, I'll track them down. I think it was about that time that we decided to change our meeting date.
Hmm.
I think it might have been January.
So it's the fourth Wednesday. Everybody agree?
Yeah,
All right,
fourth
so
Wednesday.
It's the only one that makes sense, in my opinion. Saying the last week versus the fourth week is confusing.
yes.
Yeah.
So our statement of financial position, we haven't transferred anything yet. I had an idea that we instead look into Main Savings, which is offering 4% CDs for 10 months. So we'd have to open an account.
Are these business accounts?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Oh,
I
that's
mean, I'll
interesting.
move to that effect. If, you're so inclined, I might get a second.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. So we were talking about a what do you call it? Fund, money market fund or something with Vanguard. So that has the advantage of being like a bank account with easy access. You could even write checks.
Mhm.
Having something local would be even more convenient.
What was the term on it, Ant?
It's 4%, 10 months.
10 months?
Yeah, I have such an account and I just started it, so I couldn't tell you the yield, how it looks month to month.
So what happens after 10 months?
You can cash in
Or it just automatically rolls over
or
if
roll
you
over.
don't do anything to another term, another 10 month, right?
They have the privilege of changing the rate after 10 months.
Yeah. It sounds pretty good. Sounds interesting. So I've been kind of blocked by Vanguard, so I can't find any of my login information. I think we have some old login information from Sandy. So that might be one way of getting in. We also might be able to call them and get some help. But the easiest thing of all might be to just kind of move the money into a local bank.
Yeah, and the penalty is not severe. It's if you had it for so many months, it's such and such percent.
It only hits the principal. It doesn't the interest that you've earned, it doesn't
Yeah.
affect the principal.
Well, I know it hasn't been on the agenda to think about, but I thought about it when I got the agenda. And actually, I had written to Mary and Mark, on my colleagues on the budget committee, and
Okay.
so it's not a total flash in the pan.
Yeah. Do we want to think about this for a month, or do people feel strongly enough to just vote on it now?
I'm comfortable enough with it. I mean, this is pretty standard. It's nothing really controversial where, there's not a lot of hiccups in this or potential
Yeah.
hiccup. So I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
And second,
Was there
Okay,
an
all in
amount
favor?
for that? Or was it just the same amount that we were
Yeah,
gonna
so we
put?
were talking about
One
60,000, I think.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's currently in Camden National. Camden National has a really low interest rate for the business accounts. So moving it somewhere where we can get some real interest seems to make a lot of sense. So any other discussion?
I just want to know what happened to the months of discussing Vanguard. I mean, that was a long and testy and convoluted discussion, and we finally made a motion involving a tremendous amount of money, and now all of a sudden, Vanguard really just pulled the rug? What happened with that,
No,
Mark?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of fumbling around trying to figure out how to get into Vanguard.
Next time you're in, Mark, we can maybe do it from here
Yeah,
if you want. And because we have all the, all of our organizing documents and whatever they need,
yeah.
I really think it's just a phone call to them, Mark, and probably
Yeah, Vanguard.
yeah, and emailing them some documentation, and they'll just shift it over, and we went through this once before, which is why I'm so confident about the process.
Yeah.
So
We have quite a bit of money in Camden National. So I think we could put some money into Vanguard. And so we have two accounts there, and the FTSE account was the small one. I think it's only 20 grand.
It's the other way around. The ESG is 22.
Okay,
47.
yeah. So the ESG account is actually the one that has been earning the best, and it's the small account. So we talked about kind of beefing that up. I think we can still do that and still move 60 grand into what was it, Ant?
Main savings,
Main savings.
certificate shares. Have to open a business account.
So are they in Ellsworth?
they are right down by the tennis courts.
Oh. Oh, okay.
when we do move, this is just a suggestion, or just my thoughts. When we do move money into Vanguard, I think maybe it would be better to do the money market instead of putting more into stocks right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we budgeted in quite a lot of dividend income, and the first quarter we were down about, I think it was $4,800.
Yeah.
So instead of earning, we lost on those
Yeah.
two stock accounts. And it's hard to say what the markets are going to do, but it seems like the money market that Vanguard had is like around 3.5%, I believe, right now. So I don't know, just my thoughts.
Yeah.
So I don't hold me to this, but my Vanguard money market, I think it's 4.3 presently.
4.3.
Yeah, in my cash money market account. I'll tell
So
you.
that's a lot like the local account.
Yeah.
Except these
Except for it's
A
more
limit.
liquid.
a 10-month limit, money market indefinite.
Yeah. I mean, CDs are typically going to pay a higher rate. Just because they're, a longer term investment. I'm perfectly fine with a 10-month CD. I mean, I think that's good utility. I like the idea of doing business locally, but at the same time, we've done that for a long time with Camden or any bank or the credit union or whomever.
No, we haven't. We haven't used a credit union.
No, I'm just saying that we've used local banks or
Yeah.
or credit unions like that. They're a great option for us locally, but I mean, for our investment accounts, we really should have them invested with, one of the bigger outfits like Vanguard, and I'm certainly partial towards Vanguard
Yeah.
just because of the ease of access and
Yeah.
we spent some years ago. We spent a lot of time. David, do you think our discussion about Vanguard most recently was long and contentious? We spent months talking about socially responsible investing and accounts and so on. And we did some thorough research back then, and we even had a subcommittee for it. And it turned out Vanguard really had the best alignment for us with, what the district's goals were, and that type of investing. So
They're very flexible. They have
yeah,
plenty of gun power. I mean, Vanguard and BlackRock basically run the world as far as, you know, mutual funds, all kinds of stuff they offer, including socially responsible accounts. So
Yes.
yeah, it would seem to me that yes, they are remote and they're huge, but they're liquid and they're very forgiving. They don't really, you know, go by the sorts of rules that small local banks have to go by. So I'm just a little curious as to now we're talking about, you know, good old fashioned locals, you know, local bank CDs. So I just don't know what the changeover, the quick changeover now to discussing local investment
Yeah,
again.
well, like I said, I just came to my mind and I had brought it up before with no response. So it was still in my mind. And I didn't know there was a Vanguard money market either. If that's what we're talking about, that sounds better than stocks, like Mary said.
Every investment house has money market. It's the fallback.
Is
When the
it-
market shifts, everybody jumps into the money market and waits, and then they go back in. The money market is just basically a stopgap holding measure for large amounts of money that are invested usually in higher risk and but you know, more volatile kinds of things.
The only
That-
thing about what you just said is that it didn't appear that Camden would be willing to offer us the money market account.
No, they're a local bank. Local banks don't really deal with Wall Street that much. They have transactional connections. I mean, ever since the, you know, when Glass-Steagall was taken down, and now local banks and state banks have access to Wall Street. Now we've got a proliferation of that sort of thing. But there's still, you know, it's unregulated on there's more volatility, of course, in Vanguard. You have to kind of watch daily, but money market is a daily thing. They keep it to $1 per share. And right now it's what, 3.5% to 4%. That's pretty typical, but it's liquid and it's transactionally quick. You can make a phone call and it's out and in. With local banks, they're a little bit more hesitant about, you know, moving large sums of money for a month.
Are money
Yeah, and-
markets insured
Yes.
like bank accounts?
Some of them are, yeah.
No, money
FDIC.
markets are not insured. They are not FDIC insured accounts.
Yeah,
No.
but there's a stock exchange kind of insurance. that covers money
SPI.
markets.
But David, let me correct you if you don't mind. Vanguard offers 5 money market funds that are FDIC insured.
I did not know that. That's new.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I looked up the rate. It's the current Vanguard rate is 3.65.
So supervisors, we have a motion on the floor, 60,000 to main savings for CDs, 10-month CDs, 4%.
So I like the fact that it's local, right? And it's 10 months and we can do something different after 10 months, I guess. Should we just go with it?
So just call the vote.
Yeah,
I like that it's not more in stocks right now, just because
yeah,
I don't like to see us losing.
yeah. So I think stocks are out of the question as long as things are so volatile.
I'd like, before we wrap up discussion, I will vote in the affirmative for this, but I'd really like to see us reestablish our Vanguard connection so that we have access to it and that we can make use of that utility that it offers.
Yeah. So that's the other option. So we could go local or we could go to Vanguard. Both have different advantages. So does anybody have
We could
any
do
strong
this-
feelings one way or the other?
Yeah, we have a motion, Mark.
Yes, yes. Does anyone have strong feelings one way or the other?
I you know, I don't have strong feelings. I'm just a little confused that we're now. I guess we're stepping back from Wall Street basically and going local. There are advantages. I really don't care as long as, you know, 3.5% to 4% prevails and that money is accessible. If it's in a CD, it's not.
Right.
If it's in a money market, it is. It's much more liquid. So
Okay. So we can
depending
do
on
both.
how you use this savings account, you know, you have to judge what is most useful.
So,
If local is more like, you know, in your backyard, it's good conscience, you know, to be supporting your local banks, fine. If it's worth locking it up for 10 months, fine. If we really don't need it, and we can rely on that 3.5 to 4%. So I'm fine with either way. But I just think Vanguard, we should have some kind of presence out there to keep things alive with them.
So
Yeah.
if you need to, you can draw on those CDs under a penalty.
Yes, so you lose some of the interest, whereas with the money market, you could take out anytime and not, you know, you would only lose future interest on the money that you're taking out,
So we have
right?
gobs of money in
so,
Camden National. So I think we could do both. So here's a proposal. Let's take out 60 grand. Let's put it in the local bank for 10 months and see what happens. And let's reestablish our relationship with Vanguard and take some additional money out of Camden National, put 20 grand or whatever it looks good in their the Vanguard money market account. And in 10 months, we might decide to put the other money there too. But
One other thing to think about too is like, how are we using? I mean, what is the purpose, right? Like
yeah,
from what I see in the last year, it seems like we want to be able to use those dividends. We want to use that interest income to support programs while keeping our balance. Is that kind of what the goal is? And so that could
yes, I
kind of,
think that's still the goal.
yeah, and Vanguard is really the method to do that. So my strong feelings on this are, the dirty secret is, if we were opening CDs or money markets at Camden National or Bar Harbor Bank or Maine Savings Credit or any of these organizations, they take that money in turn and invest it with Vanguard and BlackRock, and JP Morgan Chase. I mean, that's where the banks invest their money to make money on its depositors' money. That's how it works. So while again, I love doing business locally, only it's a little bit self-defeating because the money is winding up right where we want it to go anyway. And Vanguard is the organization that really is going to afford us the account structure whereby we can just draw the earnings, leave the principal to continue earning in a money market account. It's going to be insured, you know, through FDIC and so on. And you can move it around electronically. You can, you know, pay other individuals with it. You can do whatever you need to do. And it really is pretty seamless. So,
Okay. So that sounds good to me. So I think first we need to vote on the matter that's before us, kind of move the proposal in front of us. So all in favor for using the local bank, please so indicate. Okay, I thought we were headed in a different direction.
well, again, I said I would vote for it with a caveat that we would make sure we are using the Vanguard, you know?
Yeah.
And
So
Yeah.
after Mark does further research and contacts Vanguard, it could be another motion to transfer into Vanguard money market.
yeah, I mean, that's really my
Okay.
preference. I want to be invested who's going to give us the best utility, the safest investment, and the most earnings.
Yeah.
So
And it sounds like it's Vanguard.
I strongly believe it is, yes.
Yeah. So I thought that was the direction that we were moving. So do we
Well,
have
but
another
that's not the motion.
proposal?
But that's not the motion you made, Mark.
Yes.
The motion that you made was to do it locally at a local bank.
Yeah.
It's passed.
So it didn't pass. So it was 2 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Was it?
I think it was 2 and 2.
can we ask our associate supervisor to do a vote? Peter?
Good.
I don't know.
We need a tiebreaker.
This would be the first time it's happened since I've been around.
So could you repeat what the motion was so I can fully understand it?
So, Peter, so we have a bunch of money currently in a local bank, Camden National, and we're making almost zero interest on it. And so we're looking for a better place to invest it. So 60 grand is like real money. And so we could make some real interest. So there are two options. There's a local bank, Main Credit, what? Again?
Main
Savings
savings.
credit.
Main Savings, which is a CD, a 10-month CD. Or we could, so we already have an existing relationship with Vanguard. And Vanguard has a money market fund, which is also like kind of like a bank account. And it also pays good interest, and it's liquid, so we can easily take money in and out. A CD in a local bank is attractive because it helps the local economy, but it's not as liquid. So we have to wait 10 months to take the money out, or we pay a penalty. So we just voted on the local bank, and the motion didn't really pass. So we're tied 2-2.
Okay. Well, if you want my vote, I like dealing with a local bank, so I would favor that vote.
Okay, so let's do that. So it sounds like it passes. So we'll take 60 grand, put it in a local bank for 10 months and see what happens.
Yep.
And we will reestablish our relationship with Vanguard and consider moving some money into their money market fund. And 10 months from now, we can revisit this and might make a different decision.
Or
How does that
earlier.
sound?
Or earlier, whenever we want to, when we get good information from Vanguard and watch
Yeah.
the board and see what it's doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we might pay a penalty, but
Well, we
I
could
mean, we
just
can wait
move
10
some
months.
from the checking, right? Because there's still
Yeah.
70 there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark, do you want to deal with Main Savings, or would you want me to meet you down there? I
Yeah.
have a business account already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we can just write a check, I think. So we can write a
Okay.
check for 60 grand, and you and I can walk into
Okay,
Main Savings and do it.
okay, so we'll stay in touch about when, but
Yeah.
we're gonna,
Yeah.
you'll get the
Yeah.
check.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's do it.
And
Okay,
just-
thanks. Let's move on.
Hold on, you're gonna pick up the check?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So we're still talking about financials, though.
Yep.
Any other?
I'm going now to the budget versus actual. Account 8120 down at the bottom.
Okay, hang on. The account versus actuals.
Budget
Okay,
versus actual, second page.
okay. Oops.
8120 is dividend income based on Mark Chalice's, the CPA's 2023 annual review report. So scroll down. And this ties into what we were just talking about. So our dividend from Vanguard was 899.43.
What account are you looking at now?
8120.
8120?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Okay, so that's not going to make the 17.5 that Mark C predicted and the budget committee approved. So
Well, we just based it on the previous year, right?
Yeah. We really needed some revenues showing in the budget, and we came up with this. But so that's what, and that was what, the fourth quarter, Mary? That 899?
Yep. I
So-
believe so. No, I'm not exactly sure.
Or no, it was the whole
Oh.
year.
What is it at the top?
No, 8120.
January through December and over budget.
No. back down to 8120.
Yeah.
We budgeted 17.5, second column. Right?
Yeah,
So we're not going to get there.
yeah, so we were getting, what's 18 divided by 4? Don't make me do math this early, but that's what we were getting each quarter, is that divided by 12, divided by 4 quarters.
Back then.
So in our first quarter, 2025, we lost, I think, 4,800.
Right.
And,
So
you know, stock markets
899
go
for
up and
the
down.
year. Yeah, you can see how far off we were, but that's
Yeah.
what budgeting involves, is, predicting. So I'm going to show you that. And I'll back up to the top. 4411 tree sales are just booming over budget. Everybody see it?
We'll still have some costs, I think, when we order in December, because we start our sale in December. So like, yeah, but looking good.
Next one is 4065.
Okay.
So we are now looking at this as a grant award rather than, if you scroll back up to direct support at account number 4120. And I always give you the 4-digit accounts. Some of them have other digits in front, but that's just the way the computer does it.
So there already was an account.
4120 was when we were, a entity that was funded annually by the county commissioners. And we've talked about this before. So we are no longer that, but I want to leave that line there as a reminder, and in case they see fit to put us in the 2026 budget. So now we have community benefit account, grant award account, which is the 12
Down here, yeah.
that they gave us.
Yeah.
So in case anybody is wondering why there's 2 Hancock County lines.
Because we just have a different process this year that Ant and I figured out that would work for us. So where we have all the grants here, so we can edit. I didn't know that this was here. I didn't find it because it's like under this number. So that's another tale for later in the meeting.
Okay, so I got 2 more on budget versus actual. The first one, I just got a message from Jeb. If you scroll down to where it says total 47,200, then there's a new line there, unapplied cash payment income.
Unapplied
Cash
cash
payment
payment
income.
income.
What's that? Payment income refers to customer payments received but not matched to any specific sales form, like an invoice. This happens when you record a payment before creating the corresponding sales form, or when the payment and invoice are dated differently according to QuickBooks. It's a feature of QuickBooks Online that QuickBooks Desktop doesn't have, used for cash basis reporting and proper tax reporting. And then I could open it up and go further, but it seems to be another one of these automatic QuickBooks functions that just shows up on this for the first time on this budget versus actual. I don't know if that's,
I will look that up and see what that is.
yeah, I don't think it affects our cash flow. It's just another nomenclature is my take on it.
Okay.
And then the last one is what I wrote to you about, which is 4060. And we're supposed to be getting $3,000, but we haven't. Nevertheless, we debited that account to pay for Washington County water testing. And are we going to get it, or we're just paying out of our bank account for Washington County water testing? Anybody have any ideas?
Mark, you're on mute. You are muted. Mark, we can't hear you. There you
So,
are.
so we got a check for 3,000 from the Sage Foundation.
When do we get it?
So it was months ago. So,
So this might be another example of, like, you know, we have this new setup. It probably went into an older account.
No,
I will look.
it was received
Yeah.
in 2024. Do you think, Mark?
We definitely got one in 2024 because I was looking at that yesterday.
Was it $3,000?
Yes.
Okay, there's the answer.
yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Yes,
so
I
we'll
guess
take
I
care of
guess
that.
we did get it last year, and they allowed me to begin the project late because it overlapped with the Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund project.
Mhm.
In order to use the Sage Foundation money as match for Maine Outdoor Heritage, the two projects had to begin at the same time. And so Sage Foundation gave us the money last year, but allowed us to begin the project this year. So I think that's what's going on.
Hmm.
But we do have the money. There was
So-
a $3,000 check.
We could just show nothing budgeted, or I would like to do it by board action if we did it, show that it was budgeted. What
So
do
it
you
is
wanna do?
budgeted.
What do you want to do?
So it's budgeted. So all of it goes to,
Yeah, but my question is, do we show it as budgeted this year?
so it is budgeted this year. So we might as well show
I
it.
mean, that it was received this year, I'm sorry.
Oh, so it was received last year, but it's going to be spent this year.
Well, do we want to show that we have that?
Yes.
Well,
Okay,
doesn't it show here, like,
that's the budget amount, but we don't have the actual,
oh, it's not in the.
Right.
Okay,
so
it's not in the revenue account.
so supervisors will just put the 3,000 there. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So the Ellsworth Environmental Fund 4025 was also money that we got last year and has not been spent.
We
So
didn't
that's
spend
this-
that on part of Jeff's project? Was that,
Yeah,
did we?
that's Jeff's money.
You mean 4025 Ellsworth Environmental Fund?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's 10,000 for Jeff.
And we could do this.
I thought we spent that.
Yeah, I thought we did too, but
So
Um,
we started spending, we spent a little bit of it. I don't think we've spent more than $900 or so.
okay, shall we look that up and move the balance from the 2024 expenditures into the revenue for 25?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that. So we have two tasks.
Can you just say that again? Yeah,
Well, the
those
remaining
two
balance
tasks.
from 24 that wasn't spent, we'll credit that to this 4025.
Okay,
And I asked this because, as you know, the books are closed, everything's lined up according to our bookkeeper. So before I feel comfortable taking money that's already been closed, I wanted to ask your authorization. And I have it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is all for the treasurer's report. Any questions?
Okay. So it sounds like we have money. So it sounds like if we had no other money this year, that we would break even. It would still be in the black by the end of the year. Is that correct? Is that what I'm seeing?
You look at, I think a good answer for that would be in net revenue, which is the last line,
oh, hold on, sorry,
which is,
1 minute. Oops,
I can say it too while she's doing that.
I'm sorry, I thought we were dead.
Yeah, we thought so too.
Okay,
$14,652.
How
which
much?
account?
14,652. It's the bottom line. It's not an account.
Oh,
It's the net revenue line.
oh, yeah. So
So
that's
So
very
anytime,
that
much in the
includes the
black.
dividends, right?
Yeah.
That we're not
Yeah.
getting. Yeah.
so anytime that question comes to your mind, just scroll down to that line in your latest budget versus actual report.
Yeah. So in terms of hiring another Jeff, it sounds like the money should be there.
Okay, scroll up to the budgeted employee payroll.
Payroll.
Project coordinator.
Yep.
Yeah. It's right up here.
And we even, of course, have money to post the ad.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of being able to hire somebody and pay them, things are looking good.
They are.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. In the interest of moving on, let's move on. So the plant sales are looking good. The trout sales are looking good as well. So this has been one of our best trout sale years ever.
Hey, Mark,
So
did we partner with what? Did we throw Washington County a bone and help them out, or not really this time?
I don't think that they have participated in the trout program. So I think Washington County people may be coming to us, or they may still be coming to Amy.
All right, that's
But,
fine. I mean, the burden's on them. It's not. I was just curious whether they got sufficiently motivated to engage with us in it. Thanks.
Yeah. So I think
I'm talking about the Washington County desk,
yeah.
not the individuals. So
So I think they've been forwarding people who have been asking about plant sales or trout sales. They've been
oh, great,
sending them to us.
good. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on again. So we did get $12,000 from Hancock County. These are for operational expenses. It's especially important, I think, for Jeff's position because our 319 projects are not paying at the moment. So we've just wrapped up Branch Lake. We're working on Beach Hill Pond, but and I think there's a small amount of money from the town of Eastbrook for Abrams Pond, but we don't have the big 319 grants that we've had in the past this year. And so I think the 12,000 is really important for keeping our 319 projects running this year. Right at the moment, we don't have money for the backyard rewilding. So I was thinking of taking 2,000 out of the 12,000 and making that available for Tabitha. And I'm still planning on submitting a couple of grant proposals, one to Maine Community Foundation, one to Libra Foundation. I think both of them I'm going to ask for Tabitha money, backyard rewilding money. If either one of those comes through, then I think that will fund backyard rewilding. Otherwise, backyard rewilding might kind of run out of money by the end of the year.
So we haven't met, but it might not be that level of needing a budget committee. Maybe we can just do it here. What do you think?
Yeah. So I'm going to write the grant proposals. I think it's an interesting project. I think it has good prospects for getting some funding. We probably wouldn't have the money in hand until fall, but that's fine. If we know the money is coming, then we can use part of the 12,000.
So you mean the county grant?
The county grant.
Yep, so we do have it.
So we do have the county grant,
You
yes.
just want to come out of that for backyard rewilding?
I was thinking of putting 2,000 aside just to make sure that there's some money for Tabitha.
Okay, we can make a note on that account.
Yeah.
Can we also use that for when we did our budget, kind of basing on the last year? We only did like 2 or 3 press releases, a couple when we were required for elections and stuff. But like this year, we have like 2 events every month, like through November. So can we use those funds for
Yes, we can.
more press release and ads?
Yep, marketing is one of the allowed uses. It's in the
Okay.
second line of
Yeah.
Mark's report.
So I
Okay.
agree.
Okay, because I think we've already spent what we budgeted for the year
Yeah.
in press
Okay.
releases and ads, so
Yeah.
they're expensive.
Yeah. So I think there aren't any like earmarks on the Hancock County
No.
funds. I think they
It's
want
it's
kind of an-
operational. We've applied for operational funds, so whatever falls
Right.
under that.
Yeah.
And I've asked Mary to relist them in our good graces as a partner online.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. It's always a good idea.
Where would you like to see that, Ant?
Where
On
the
the
partners
homepage?
are. There's a
Where the
list of
what?
partners. There's State
Okay.
Department. There's
They're not there? Okay.
no. I think I asked to yank them out.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
Okay. Okay, any other questions about Hancock County money, backyard rewilding,
No, and
or Jeff's
when do we
funding?
expect to hear from Davis?
So Davis, we missed our chance this year. So
Oh, I see. Yeah.
they gave us rewilding money in the past, and
Yep.
apparently they don't
Okay.
they don't fund the same project a second time.
So we just covered it with county grant.
Yeah.
Would they do
Let's-
so in the future, Mark?
What's that?
If you skip a cycle, would they do so in the future?
No,
No.
they're looking for new projects. So we would go back to Davis for a different project. But I found out last minute that they don't fund old projects a second time. And so I didn't have time to repackage the Davis Foundation grant for some other purpose. And I don't think they would fund 319 projects because, that's government funded. So someday, when we have a specific project in mind, we can go back to Davis. But for rewilding, at least, we're going to have to look in other places. So that's why I'm looking at Maine Community Foundation and Libra.
Okay, so the balance of the main CF grant, can we put that towards backyard rewilding or part of it?
Yes,
Okay.
if there's still any left. I thought, so that's
Yeah,
been
look at
around for a long time.
Look at the there is, if you look at the account 6600 report.
But isn't that for the Orland Narragansett watershed?
Oh, wait, okay,
Grant?
this is the
Oh,
list.
yes, yeah. So that's the other Yeah, so we had an Old Main Community Foundation grant, and I think that's all spent.
Yeah.
But we
let's
had a
just say it
new
is.
one. And that was the dams project on the Orland River.
Mhm.
And Gina's running that, and that money isn't spent yet, but it's going to be soon. So I think
Oh, it
Gina's
is.
going to take the last $4,000 and spend it on having an engineer review some of the submissions that they got from AIM.
Okay, so that takes care of that.
Yeah, that takes care of that. So we need some new money, and I'll work on that later. Um, May. May would be a good time to put together another couple of grant proposals. So the Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund program is working. I've taken my first round of samples. The weather mostly cooperated. I got some really good high flow data. And then I'll do this again in the summer. That'll be the low flow data. Orland Migratory Fish Day is coming up. The district is going to be a partner again. We're going to have a couple of tents, couple of tables. We're going to put up our watershed map and talk about watersheds and the Orland River. And we can talk about fish restoration, and we can talk about dams, but we're not going to have any kind of formal presentation, I think, other than the watershed map. So we're just interacting one-on-one with people as they come to our table and talk about things that they're interested in.
I might want to inject at this point the fact that we're going to get a pavilion-sized tent from Great Pond Mountain. It's something like 12 feet, enough for a bunch of chairs. We have a PA system that we're going to be able to make announcements with, at least. And we were we've tried really hard to try to get a keynote speaker, but apparently there's like 5 different river herring migratory events happening on the same weekend. And so Tallhauser is out, and just everybody's is manning other places. So we still have the capability of talking to the crowd. We thought that if we got at least one professional, somebody with a credential that can be vouchsafed for by an introduction, we'd be able to at least announce something that kind of ties things together. Why are we here today, and what do we hope to take away from it? And so I was thinking, well, geez, Mark, you're going to be there, and you're a professional with credentials. I've seen the introduction that they made for you at the Union River event last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago. Would you be interested in at least maybe like addressing whoever is listening as a crowd, if you want to call it that, about what it means that fish migrate, and what are the benefits? Why should we care? There's a long and beautiful history to the migratory fish runs and how they were taken advantage of from prehistoric times until now, that they sustain local economy budgets for up to 30,000 in Orland a year. And maybe Hancock County Soil and Water has some sort of judgment about it. And would you be willing to step up for just a 5-minute brief?
Sure.
It kind of makes it official. This is Migratory Fish Day. We have an official announcement about it.
Sure.
Well, wait a minute, Mark, what's your honorarium? What's your fee?
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually had a PowerPoint on migratory fish, that I gave at one point for the Union River Forum. So I can't really do a PowerPoint at Orland Migratory Fish Day, but I'll figure something out.
Maybe you could, summarize it a little bit and then just say we could print out some, packets with them if people are interested in learning more or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a great
So I
idea.
think I think I could have a printout of the 12 or 14 different species of fish that are migratory in Maine, and could maybe have another handout. So let me go to my PowerPoint and see what makes sense. But yeah, we can do something. Probably a couple of handouts.
That would look good. At least be prepared for that.
Okay.
Because we have to test out this thing. It's our, I don't know what to call this, our first annual Orland Migratory Fish Day celebration, or I call it the second one. We would have had one last year. Should I call it the third one? Because the president was actually made by Great Pond Mountain and Hancock County Soil and Water in 2023. But in any event, we're trying to launch something that's now belongs to Orland. And that's a big achievement. They've been very reluctant to allow their wonderful, one of the top 5 fishways that, where migratory fish are harvested. We now have a celebration. It's going to hopefully become as standard as the Union River Forum. And so I'm looking at next year, but to get there, we now need to show a little bit of success. And it's a small venue. We're going to have wildlife viewing with binoculars that people bring. We're going to have snacks. We're going to have pizza. We have electrical cords coming out of the power station, the pump power station there to plug things in. We've got an electric PA system. We'll have heating apparatus for heating up pizzas. Small, intimate, and definitely mingling is the primary transitional experience. But I think that at 11 a.m., it's from 10 to 2, 11 a.m., call to order. We're going to have, a basic, coming together, whoever is around and milling around, come to the tent and listen. We'll have it posted so that people can kind of, let's go find out what all this is about, really. And but the focus is on the fishway. We've got it cleaned up. We're going to have fencing that I'm going to start driving down today to New York to pick up. So it's going to look good for Orland. It's going to be safe. It's going to be intimate. It's going to basically put the focus on the fish. And for anybody to see the fish actually wiggling around, there's going to be a whiteboard for viewing visibility. I'm hoping that we will have some AV equipment in the pavilion tent. Mark, you said that you have a projector, a digital projector.
We do have a
screen.
digital projector.
And I've got some great footage. There's some great material that I'm investigating that comes through a retired professor from College of the Atlantic who has organized a kind of clearinghouse for all the different celebratory experiences are going on during the migratory fish season, all the way from schools and their AP students actually gathering data to simply presentations and videos. And it's happening. It's a real happening. And we want to kind of see if we can't get our little, our shingle out and advertising, that we too have our celebration. And here are a few things to look at.
Yeah. So there's some good historical data on the alewife harvests in Orland. So the paper that I have is somewhat out of date. I think it was from 2020 or something like that. But there's a really good graphic for that. So I'll put something together and we'll do handouts or maybe even set up a PowerPoint in the tent. We'll think about that.
We have a chance to interview a guy by the name of Ralph Gray. He's an old timer. He harvested back in the 80s. We're going to hopefully have an oral, recording of his, his remembrances to project. So there'll be some other media, some multimedia stuff going on. But we do need to have, here is our rep. He's he's the authority and going to kind of just provide a nucleus from which to broadcast the details.
Okay, sure. So I can help with that.
Excellent. Otherwise, as far as budgeting goes, $700 was earmarked for this. 380 is for the fencing. I'm going to pick up this next 3 days. $120. We have for signage. We have a kind of a small contract with Print Bangor, and they have an operation in Brewer, more like Holden, where they make yard signs. So we've got some PDFs ready to go for about 12 to 15 yard signs that are directional, that are presentational. Each tent will have its own like placard with images and big signage, big words. So that's 120. Porta potty, we decided to only get one. I don't think we're going to draw the kind of crowd where we have to have two. So that's 140. Plus incidentals such as gas money to go down adds up to $700.
Okay. So I think we've got that. I think we should do that. I think we've already agreed on that, already voted on that.
Does that include Gina's take?
Who?
Gina.
Tina.
Gina.
Oh, Gina.
Gina Bashong, she's got $4,000 now to spend on engineering reports.
Right. I mean, your request, does that account for her also having those funds?
No. So
No.
the Maine Community Foundation money is separate.
Okay, so please explain to me what David, I thought, was drawing from the main CF grant as well.
No. No. So we never had any money for Orland Migratory Fish Day.
Okay.
I believe that we booked that under cash on hand, but I can double check.
And the same with the Union River. So we've never had grants for either of those programs.
Okay, so we're just supporting it as a decision of our board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a motion last month. David first brought it up.
And I thought that was coming from the grant.
No.
Okay.
No. So we've always had some unfunded projects.
Mhm.
That's
And,
what
you know,
Orland's calling it. They granted us access to the Fishway and approved indemnifying it. But there was a word in the granting, and that is unfunded.
Yeah. So these kinds of things are difficult to fund. It's kind of a capacity issue, I think. It's the sort of thing that we might go to Maine Community Foundation
Yeah, or
for some time.
you could say it's coming from the county as well.
Yeah. So it could be county money. Yeah.
Maybe we should do that. What do you all think? We'll just take it out of the county grant for the Orland expenses.
It's that idea.
Not good?
No, I think it is good, and it gives us a great talking point
Yeah.
for our request next year.
Okay,
Mhm.
so let's do that, Mary.
Okay,
So you probably have to just change the description.
yep.
Isn't there an education fund line item? as an aside, I do need, I was told that there is an orientation program for new supervisors. And I could really use one, you know, some time with you, Mary, or maybe with I don't know, maybe you, Ant, in terms of looking at finances and budget items and how the money is moved around. It's still kind of confusing to me. There are budget talks. So maybe that would be helpful in trying to project into the future for, you know, anticipating the kinds of money management moves that are capable, you know, that are available and not available, so that this kind of thinking about education versus programming versus what do we have? Basically in the field activities. All of these line items are a little bit murky with me right now. So anyway, I'll let you guys decide how this $700 is earmarked.
Yeah, we already just did. But David has a good idea there. Anytime we get a grant, all of us should see what the parameters are. If you could distribute that to all of us, I don't know, I guess Mark gets the confirmation. He gives it to Mary to file. Right at that point, Mary copies us with everything she files.
Yeah, I could, like, when I get the money, right, I
Yeah.
can put it on the agenda for the next month. How about that?
But also copy us the actual award letter.
Okay.
David, do you think that would put you on the right track, getting award letters, copies?
Well, right. In fact, we got one for the you know, the award letter from MCA in regards to what basically ended up being spent on the 4 or 5 dam committee. You know the history of that. It actually changed from being an MCF guideline to basically an open-ended expenditure, and so that money definitely came in handy when it came time for dam ownership.
But there was a
So-
budget.
Yeah, so we had sat down to do an MCF grant proposal, and Gina just didn't allow it to go through. And it would have been for education such as this, Migratory Fish Day, and also extending to the citizens of this, of the people who live within the jurisdiction of this future municipal style taxing organization that will run the dams once their ownership status has been determined. This 10,000 that they got for that is great. It's working out for that. But it was initially supposed to be, at least in part, for education outreach. So it kind of got like swept under by everything else going on. Politically thinking, to MCF doesn't fund political initiatives that have voting involved and the like. So teasing all that apart and putting those parts into their proper perspective is important. And so getting back to the point here, I think that education money should be granted by funding foundations. That's what they're for. They want people to gain knowledge and experience in issues having to do with conservation.
On that note, I do have a spreadsheet that has like a tab for every grant that tells, you know, I just kind of summarize stuff from the award letter. Like if anyone is interested in me sharing that with them, I'm happy to do that. So it will show the amount, it shows, you know, how it's going to be used and the account numbers. So like whenever I get a transaction, I can go look at that if I need to. So if anyone wants that, let me know.
Well, why don't you
If you
just
want to see it.
distribute it? Is there going to be an award letter distributed right
No,
away?
I can make sure that whenever we get an award letter that
Oh, just
I
attach
share
that.
it with the
Yeah,
board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just attach
Yeah.
the spreadsheet.
yeah.
Mary, you did distribute the award letter for that MCF grant.
I don't think I've done it every time though. I think I did. I don't know why I did that one, to be honest. But it should be, I agree that it's good information to share each time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so So I'm done. Any questions so far on grants and programs?
Yes, I do. Where did, who is organizing the union, forum? Uh, I don't.
So it's Green
Who's in
Ellsworth,
charge?
Frenchman's Bay Conservancy, and us.
Say again, Mark?
City of Ellsworth, so
Who's,
Green Ellsworth,
who's the steering committee head? The person like who, you know,
Mary
I am
Blackstone.
for Orland River Day. Who's doing you know, Union River?
Mary Blackstone
Mary Blackstone.
with Green Ellsworth.
Green Ellsworth. Thank you very much. Yes, I think that there's some background information on last year or 2 years ago. I know that I looked at something that had, you know, all the speakers and their credentials presented, and you know, the sorts of things that happened. And so for the one that's happening in just a couple of weeks, it's all organized and ready to go. It's all. I see a note that you and Mary are going to be there. I'll be glad to try to be there as well, because I could learn a lot about how they go about organizing for an educational event that promotes the Union River.
Sure.
So Jeff is not here today. Mark, do you want to go over his bullet points?
Yeah, so Jeff is our project manager for 319 projects. The 319 projects are these watershed projects, primarily with lake associations, having to do with non-point source pollution, so erosion control issues in the watershed. Very often this boils down to camp road maintenance, driveway maintenance, and shorefront erosion issues. These are typically funded by the federal government, by EPA. 319, called 319 projects because that's the section of the Clean Water Act that deals with erosion and non-point source pollution issues. The grants are managed by DEP, and they put out an annual request for proposals in the spring, and we're going to submit one for Beach Hill Pond in May. And apparently we're going to be involved with Branch Lake again, and they will be, goodness, they're talking about a project in 2026. So they may be also thinking of submitting a proposal this May.
But these are state grants.
So we already have some money from the town of Eastbrook to work on Abrams Pond. And they need to do a watershed survey. They're looking for non-point source issues. They document them, and then they develop a watershed management plan which prioritizes those projects. And that's what's submitted to EPA for funding.
Okay, the 319
Yes,
funding is,
yes,
comes from,
EPA.
so our odds of receiving any of them are what?
So Jen Jesperson, until recently, had 100% record of having her projects funded.
Until recently.
So Beach Hill Pond's proposal last year was um, not funded. It was highly rated, but the competition was intense. And Beach Hill Pond is not it's not polluted. It's an at-risk pond, but it's not a polluted pond. And so the ponds that had more serious issues got the money last year.
Well, I'm thinking to myself, if the EPA funding is not guaranteed, And we're talking
It's never
about,
guaranteed.
right, and above that, we're talking about filling a position on some kind of basis.
Yeah,
What's the balance? I wrote you you know, thought that if there is money, we could engage one of these, or the person that was discussed last time or the meeting before, that somebody knows, to intern with Jeff.
yeah.
And
So
if,
Scott isn't interested or qualified.
okay, so
So
that person could
we
then
don't
be,
have anybody lined up.
okay, so what do we think about the intern idea until there's funding to maybe hire them part-time? We pay them as an intern.
And I think Andrew had suggested that all that be discussed in an executive session at the
Well,
end.
this is discussing
No.
a position. We're not discussing personnel.
Gotcha.
So when it gets to
All right.
personnel, I totally
Yeah.
agree with that.
Well, we
I
just,
gotcha.
yeah, we just did though.
But no names were mentioned.
Mention someone by name. So,
Huh.
I mean, that's the problem. But I agree. I mean, I think it's important for us to be prudent until, you know, the economic, you know, funding is, you know, the funding sources that we rely upon are, you know, we know how stable a foundation they're built upon. All of it's under review. My experience has been, not to draw parallels, but what I'm experiencing in my agency is that formerly funded programs and revenue streams are just simply being shifted to other revenue streams. And so it's going from left pocket to right pocket, but the funding and the opportunities are still remain. And it appears that projects and things like that, mitigation projects, continue to be funded just with a different title and sometimes a different agency program. So I'm hopeful and optimistic, but yeah, I think it's right. Before we rush into any commitments, we really need to, you know, be sure that the money's going to be there.
Right.
And we don't have any guarantee of that.
Well, I'm adding
Yeah.
to what you're saying is that there's work. They want to hire Jeff to do these things right away.
Yes.
Right. So,
And I agree. It makes sense if we can make use of a part-timer that gives us a little more flexibility with respect to long-term commitments and things like that, then I'm all for it.
okay. And I'm not even suggesting a part-timer. I'm suggesting more of a consultant internship. So they don't have to draw benefits, but they get the experience and the wage if they're interested.
I mean, to some extent, that's pretty much how we've enjoyed Jeff's services.
No, he's a benefited employee. So someone to shadow him, and my concept would be that they're a consultant, an intern. They're getting a stipend.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah.
We can work out when we have the right person, sure.
Yeah. So an intern would have to be supervised. So I think we're looking for a Jeff. We're looking for someone who can work independently.
Right, but my concept means this person goes with Jeff on jobs and is kind of an apprentice.
Yeah. So that would work for a while.
Yeah.
So Jeff doesn't have a lot of money either this year.
So that the apprenticeship would end when Jeff was done those jobs. And then if at that point we're hiring somebody, we go through the whole hiring process.
Yeah.
So that's my proposal.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll talk about that.
But we only have a month. We should figure it out now, right?
Yeah. Well, do you want to go into executive session?
I don't think it's necessary. We don't have any personnel. We're just discussion of a position.
Yeah. So yeah, why don't you make a motion, if you don't mind me suggesting, make a motion that we establish this position under those parameters, and then try to find a person to fit that with the skills and abilities to fit the position.
Okay. I move that we establish an intern apprenticeship to accompany Jeff on the upcoming projects. And we know that there's a limited amount. I'm saying this in parentheses. And that position ends when Jeff retires.
I'll second that.
Okay. So do we need any further discussion?
Well, there could be like the pay rate, but getting the motion across would be, I think that'd be
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
to
So the
look
pay
at.
rate depends on their experience, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's predicated on the person, their skills, abilities,
And
longevity, and so on.
I
So,
think
yeah.
we should refer to it as a stipend.
Yep.
So I'd like to add the word a stipended intern apprenticeship to the motion.
No, second again.
If the motion succeeds, then we could talk about the pay.
Okay.
The stipend.
So we have a motion and a second. Does it need further discussion? I probably should mention that Beach Hill Pond, Branch Lake, Phillips Lake, and Abrams are all interested in 319 projects. So I think the interest is there. This is something that has been a staple for the district. This goes back to the Megan years. You know, we've been doing this for more than 10 years now. It's been at least half of what we do every year. It's based on grants. The grants are never a sure thing. They're competitive in nature. And things are probably getting more competitive rather than less so. The chaos in Washington has added additional uncertainty to it. But EPA is still there, DEP is still there, 319 projects still exist. There seems to be money. I think it's important to keep our 319 project going if we can. And there's evidence that we probably can. And so,
I have another point of discussion.
okay,
The source of the stipend funds. Maybe that should be a separate motion. Let's do this motion first.
yeah. So we do have some funds. So we have 12,000 from Hancock County. We're already, taking chunks out of it for Tabitha and for Orland Fish Days
And advertising.
and advertising. We have 10,000 from the city of Ellsworth. 1,000 of that may be already spent. There's still another 9,000. And Jeff has some money from Abrams Pond from town of Eastbrook. So that's that's money for Jeff. But if we had a person who was an apprentice, say, that would give Jeff some money to work with them side by side for a while to learn some of the ins and outs of the job.
So I propose that if this succeeds, we create another I hate to say payroll line, but just in that section of the budget.
Yeah, so that's what Jeff was.
Yeah, but I mean, I could try and find that old account, intern apprentice, put that into the budget and then fund it with Ellsworth money. How's that sound?
Well, and Hancock County money.
Okay, what's our choice here to fund that internship?
Yeah. Um, so the only money that we have to work with is the 12,000 from Hancock County and whatever remains from the city of Ellsworth.
Yes. So we can say that, which one, what's the priority? What gets drawn first?
I would say Hancock County.
Okay.
Well, so I think we need to spend the money from Ellsworth.
Mhm.
I
Well,
think maybe
can
I think I would draw that down first.
Okay,
can I suggest that we, again, with just thinking politically, that some of the money come from the county allocation, and I'll tell you why, because it's a great talking point.
Yep.
In our application next year, that we use this money to pay for work at Branch Lake, at Phillips Lake, and so on, and list those out. And that is going to really resonate, I think, Abrams Pond, and that is going to be a great illustration of what the district is about and the work that we do. And the reason why they should continue to fund it. So
Okay.
So-
even if it's just, $1,000 or $2,000, contribute towards that, I think that'd be great.
yeah, I agree. I'm just trying to think of logistics. Every time the person gets a paycheck, it could be from the city money, and then the next time they get it could be from the county money. Want to do it like that? Because then we don't have to budget anything, we just draw.
Yeah, it sounds administratively burdened. I wouldn't want to have to be the person
Yeah.
track of those
No, you
Yeah.
don't have to.
checks.
So let's draw down the Hancock County money first.
Everybody good with that?
I think we're gonna have no trouble spending all of this year.
Okay.
So let's start with the Hancock County money first,
Mhm.
because as Andrew says, that looks really good to the Hancock County commissioners.
Okay.
Are
So,
we setting aside a specific amount?
10,000, I would say, for 319 projects.
oh, wait a minute. I don't know if that was Mary's question.
I mean, from Hancock County, sorry.
For the intern, for the apprentice. How much,
Yeah.
if any? Maybe undisclosed amount.
Someone mention 2,000 or something, 1,000, 2,000?
Well, yeah, so there's 2,000 for Tabitha and there's 700, was it, for Orland Fish Migration Day?
Mhm.
So the balance, I think, needs to be set aside for 319 projects.
Does that include the apprentice?
Well, includes Jeff and whoever replaces Jeff.
Yes, but for the interim apprentice, does that balance include that position?
So I don't know.
Okay.
I think Jeff could easily spend that as himself.
All right, so let's just pay them out of county grant. The question Mary raised is there a limit? Maybe there shouldn't be.
Well, there is a limit, so we only have 12,000.
Up until, of course, but I mean, out of that 12, is there a limit for the apprentice? Or not?
So I don't know how much Jeff needs.
Yeah.
So Jeff has
Sorry,
some
we're not
money
gonna-
from, so Jeff is going to retire in April. Well, it's April.
He said, I think it's May now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're almost in May.
Yeah.
And so he has money from Eastbrook. So maybe that's all the money he needs. I don't know.
Well, he doesn't know about this proposal either. But I mean, as part of the motion, we could say it comes from county grant and the Eastbrook money.
Yeah, so in another month, we'll know, I think, what Jeff needs.
Well, the timeline,
don't-
now, he's
I
gone
don't-
in another month. And if we can get somebody with him tomorrow, next day, you know, that's the money we're talking about. It'll end at the end of next month.
I know you guys are gonna talk about this more in the executive session, but I just worry about a little bit about the term intern, because it kind of implies that there's gonna be a job once the internship's done, or does it?
Apprentice.
Yeah, I mean, whatever we call it,
Yeah,
we would be hiring somebody under the assumption that the program will continue.
okay.
Well, then we'd have to post the
An
job.
intern's good then, I mean,
I'm not saying that person automatically gets hired as program manager. I'm saying we post the job. That person would be a likely candidate. But we have to post the job.
I'll work on that with you, Mark, this week,
Yeah.
maybe, get something going.
Yeah.
This week.
So MACD basically pays for Mary and some of our overhead costs, having an office. And the Hancock County money typically paid in part for Jeff, and then the 319 projects paid for Jeff. And we've always had some 319 projects. I mean, even this year we have a small amount of money for Abrams Pond. But whether it's Jeff or Jeff's replacement, there's going to be, I mean, most of the position is going to have to be paid by grants, and that's always going to be up in the air. There will be hopefully some money each year from Hancock County, but
I
that's
just want to make a quick correction on that, just for the record, that it's not MACD. That's only 2,000. I mean, it's or is it through MACD? But it's the main department,
It's the state.
MDCAF, that provides.
yeah,
the salary,
MACD.
right?
DACF. Yeah, I'm talking about DACF.
DACF, thank you.
So DACF money is typically paid for Mary and the office overhead.
So we could say this person shall receive $25 an hour from county grant money until the term expires, which is when Jeff leaves.
Yeah. So this is a pretty high professional position that not just anybody can do. Some of the potential people.
So let me ask this question, Mark. Sorry for interrupting you. Is our intent to try to find someone and hire them in this capacity to see them succeed, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we're trying to keep the 319 project alive.
Yeah, and I understand that. I just, whether we're calling them an intern or some other, phraseology to delineate them, I think we're using the term intern really to avoid a sense of permanent. We're not hiring someone permanently.
Yes.
It's not. It's more of a financial wording than it is operational with respect to the position.
Yep.
So, and I think that's something that we just communicate in writing, of course, part of an agreement, but we just make that abundantly clear that this is our intent. Yep. And if we get, a superstar, we just tell them, look, we want you in the field with Jeff. We want you to learn the ropes. We want you to learn how the districts work and, what the projects are about. And, we're interested in you to take his place when he wraps it up.
So please apply for the job.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the, if that's the intent, why not?
Okay, coming from county grant. No, just the hourly rate coming from county grant would be the part of this motion.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like it's gonna at least have a vote. What should be the hourly rate then?
So we can't set the hourly rate now. We don't know who this person is. So as I was saying, these people might be coming from construction companies because who knows how to maintain a dirt camp road. It's mostly people who, know their way around a construction site. And so they're already making, I don't know, probably more than $30 an hour. So
You want to say?
I don't think we can start with a discussion about what we're going to pay them.
We could suggest a range maybe
Yeah, suggest a range.
based on experience.
Otherwise,
Something.
it's another board meeting. By then, he's on his way out. We haven't, designated anyone yet. Range.
Okay, so we've got a motion. We've had some discussion. Is any more needed before we vote?
Yes, what's the pay range?
Should we say 25 to 30 to start
Yeah,
Yeah,
based on
okay,
experience?
thank you.
yeah.
No more discussion.
Okay, any other discussion? So all in favor of the motion, please so indicate. Is that everybody? I can't see the whole board. I have these pop-ups keep
Yeah.
blocking my view.
All right, so now.
Is that everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to begin
Yeah,
the
David?
process.
David, did you have a question?
No, this is my,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
raising
yeah.
my hand so you can see it if you can't hear it.
Yeah,
Well, doesn't,
yeah. So it seems to be unanimous.
shouldn't Peter be voting also?
Pardon?
I said, shouldn't Peter
Designate him, yeah.
also?
I think associate supervisors vote when asked or
Yeah.
to break a
Yeah, so
tie.
Peter's, are you
No
still with
offense,
us?
Peter.
Not taken.
Yeah, does it sound good to you?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Okay,
Okay, so,
so consensus.
Okay.
yeah, so, but it,
All in favor?
Yeah, so all in favor and a consensus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So thanks, everyone.
Okay, now how do we do this?
Well, we're gonna have to advertise and we're gonna review the people that come in and we're gonna be very careful to tell them that this is a part-time position at best and that it depends on grant money from the federal government and that we have a good history of getting some money, but you never really know.
Okay, so we need to put an ad somewhere right
And-
away?
We
Yes.
can do it in
Well,
Indeed.
I mean, there's
Yep.
no hurry, right?
Well, there is, because we only have a month.
Well, Jeff's saying he's gonna stay for those projects, but I don't know how long that's gonna be.
I thought it was
Yeah,
more, end of next month.
But it would be great to have that person be with him during, this
Yeah,
work that
that's
we
it.
know
Yep.
is happening. And
So-
we've already gone through, me, Jeff, and Mark have gone through the job description, so that's ready. So
Okay.
it's just a
So
matter
I-
of putting an
Yeah, but
ad in and doing Indeed.
But the job description wouldn't necessarily apply to this apprentice.
Mm.
That it's more like you're on the job, I don't even want to say that. You're in the field training.
Mm.
well, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing what Jeff is doing.
Right, shadowing
Yeah,
the program manager.
Uh,
Mhm.
that'd
We
be-
can find somebody. We're
Yeah.
gonna be lucky. if we can find somebody that.
Yeah, we're going to be really lucky to find somebody because the job is kind of goofy because it's half-time at best.
Order time.
Mark,
Yeah.
not to be rude, but I know you said we have to adjourn at 10 and we've got less than 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to post this in the employment section somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, Maine Association of Nonprofits, we are a member. They have a board for job postings. I think we should put it there.
okay.
I think we should put an ad in the Ellsworth American. And I think we need to put an ad in the Bangor Daily.
Wow. That's a significant layout for something that'll end as soon as they get the job. I mean, they'll be there a month and then they're done.
I think we should put it on Indeed. I think most people that look for jobs look online and not in newspapers.
Yeah,
I think the Ellsworth American is good, but the BDN, I mean, it's like a couple $100, isn't it, to do an ad
Probably.
in there now?
Yeah.
I can check on it.
I
It
mean,
might be more cost effective to just use Indeed.
and the wording should include like potential, continuing employment.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, potential continuing. Okay.
Shadowing a job description and hopefully being able to by and by fill it.
That's the idea, right?
To do what, David?
Shadow the job
Yeah.
description
What was the last part?
Shadow.
and hopefully be chosen to fill it.
Yeah. And I can ask Alex Wong if he has any ringers from his job interview.
Okay, and then there was the other person that one of the potential associate supervisors mentioned.
No,
Anybody remember
not
that?
that I know of.
No?
What did you say, Ann?
There was a name mentioned by one of the potential associate supervisors.
So Scott Higgs. So
Yeah,
he's
we're not supposed to say that on the public.
Oh,
right?
yes.
But I'm just saying there was a name mentioned.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I've also received, yesterday, I got a email from a upcoming graduate who's interested in working with us. So, I mean, I think there's gonna be a lot of interest.
So who's going to contact them? Personnel committee?
Yeah, do we have a personnel committee?
Yes.
Since, who's
Mark,
on that?
Jennifer, Ann, anybody else that wants to be? That committee should be prepared to meet. The names should be gathered and presented to a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
called.
Yeah. I can handle the management of that with
Okay,
you guys, yeah,
just let
as I
us
get,
members know when we're going to meet at the office. Or we could do it in Zoom. You know, if we get to the point of bringing someone in, we want to meet them in person at the office.
Mhm. I'll get it rolling.
Great.
Okay.
So are we ready for the office manager?
Office manager.
Yes.
Okay. The first one is using yet more of the Hancock County funds to get an owl, which is a device that you can, it's designed for meetings, you know, to record, and it has a big microphone that can pick up people around. Like we could have used it in Orland when we, when we had that big meeting. We can use it at the local working group. We have multiple events at the Ellsworth Extension. I thought we were going to be able to use the owl from what they said last year, but we had an event last week and they said no. So it just would be a piece of equipment that we could use for any kind of public forums, so we could have high quality recordings to share on the website afterwards. So we could hear public input. Because usually on like the Zoom meetings that we do Zoom meetings even if it's in person, but you can barely hear most of the people that are physically there because the microphone is a different part of the room. So it's about $1,100.
Okay, so 6571 has 1028 in it.
What
Okay.
account is that?
6571.
I know, but like, what is that?
Computer software and service.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
it was budgeted, $500, but it's got. Oh, we've overspent it.
So
wanna
I'm
just
thinking this
overdraft that
probably
again?
has a lot of Chinese components. And I'm worried about the price doubling or tripling.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking maybe this is something that we should do right away.
Yeah.
And not put off.
How about, are you okay with overdrafting that account?
What's that?
Are you okay with overdrafting that account?
Or I could take the balance out of cash on hand. It literally would be less, it would be less than $100. Unless the prices have changed. I haven't checked this in the last couple of weeks, so.
What cash on hand?
What's that?
What cash on hand?
The checking account,
That's what I mean.
Camden
Either,
checking.
but I think we'd want to account for this too. So we write the check from the bank, but we debit this account, right?
Yeah, so there's
That's
the
what I mean by overdrafting.
yeah, so it's just overdraft by $100.
Okay.
So we have one account that's slightly in the red.
Okay.
Actually, I think it'd be more than that. We've already overdrafted. So we're saying
I
we're going
see.
to do it again.
So does there need to be a vote on that expenditure or not?
Yeah, for $1,000, I would say that we should take a vote on it.
Yeah.
Did anyone have any questions about like what it is or
No,
anything?
I know it works really well. You could see everybody and hear everybody in the room.
Yeah.
So do we have a motion?
And does it have a good microphone?
It does.
Yeah, it has a much
built-in
better microphone than,
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
than a laptop. Yeah.
Okay, do we,
Motion
should we
to-
entertain a motion?
I so move that we acquire this beautiful piece of equipment.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So all in
Discussion.
favor?
Wait a minute, discussion.
So I thought we did
What
discussion.
is this beautiful
discuss it.
piece? It is an owl. What kind of an owl? We know where to get it.
Yeah. So there's a company that makes
It's a
it.
brand. Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to put the brand in
It's
the
Owl.
owl. Okay,
OWL.
I
Yep.
got it.
Okay. So any further discussion? Okay. So if not, please indicate approval by raising your hand. Is that everybody?
Mhm.
Kind of looked like it.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks.
Okay,
So,
it serve us well.
yeah, I think it's a good move, and I think we will use it. We will certainly use it for the local working groups.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
we
Do you
still
have
have
to
a
go,
few
Mark?
minutes.
Okay. I'll kind of try to breeze through this. I just want to let the board know the backyard rewilding event we had, Edible Ecosystems, was very low turnout, but really high engagement for the few people that were there. And we thought next year, maybe wait until a little bit later in the spring to get more people to come. Or we had 4 or 5 people that RSVP that did not come. So it was like it was the first clear day in like all winter. So I think that was part of it. But, I completed a QuickBooks class. I have a report. I'll send it to the board. I'll send it to you guys afterwards. Because I know we're running low on time, but basically I learned a lot about different ways we can optimize, and I gained a larger understanding of how the whole thing is set up and things that we can do to do less manual entries and more automatic things, in a nutshell. The plant sales coming up. We're looking at the biggest order is coming from Michigan, and it's almost 500 plants. We have 600 bare root seedlings coming all together from different vendors.
Oh.
They're supposed to get there around May 2nd, and we're having it delivered to Mark's because last year it got delivered to our neighbors and we never knew where they were, and it was a problem. So if anyone wants to volunteer to help once they arrive, to help put them all into the different orders. We have 60 different orders. We'll have to separate out everything and pack them. Just let me know if you want to volunteer for that.
Yeah, where's that work going to be done? At the office?
I think at the office.
Yep. And then we had some extra plants that we can sell that day. Not too many, but if people stop by and want to buy something, we'll be set up to do that.
Well, you can put me on the list.
Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
Ann.
Ann.
Mhm.
And then there's a new seed sale thing through the NACD where you can buy. It's mostly for like supporting grouse and quail, but it could work like on a lot of like transition area, like between the fields and woods. And we already had somebody ask us at the Edible Ecosystem workshop about such a thing, and Mark and I had just heard about it that day. So basically you can buy it's like $5 and you get like 150 seeds. And so I don't know if we want to start looking at offering that kind of year round, whenever it's available.
I think we should. I'm getting other requests. Tabitha and I are going, I think next Wednesday, the 30th, to see somebody in Bar Harbor who had a lot of work done on their property, so they have a lot of bare ground, and they're looking for some good cover really quick, something that would have some wildlife value. So wild seed mix, I think, is something that there may be some real demand for, and that we should probably, have some seed on hand. We might buy it by the pound. It's $100 a pound, but that's a lot of little, baggies that we could sell for $5 each, and people can experiment with wildflower mixes.
And it's like it's a mix of grasses and wildflowers.
Are the
I think it's
pack, does it come already packaged, or do we have to package it?
We'd have to separate. It comes in a big bag, I guess.
I think it probably comes in
Yeah, it's all together.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to buy 100 pounds at once?
Well, I don't know.
You do? No, you
know.
don't. No, I don't think so. I think it's just 1 pound and it was $155. Not, excuse me.
Okay. So 1 pound is a lot of seed.
Yeah. I know it was $155 for that.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at, anyways, I'd have to look again.
It'd be fun having some of that on hand.
Actually, it's right here. Hang on, I'll look real quick.
Cost of goods sold.
We earn 10% of sales
Mhm.
as unrestricted revenue.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh, here it is. $33 per pound or $150 for 5 pounds.
Oh, I see.
So we could start with just, I know a pound is a lot of seeds, right?
Yeah.
So we could just start that and have a little source of revenue and some nice pollinating mix. So, all right.
So this would be another overdraft for cost of goods sold account, which is 5010.
So we might be able to.
Budgeted, but
50-10?
yeah, nothing's budgeted, but we're already way over because
Right.
we want to be doing business, right? So
So I
Yeah.
think the plant sale may end up with a net profit.
yeah,
So we could
Oh,
use
well,
plant sale or trout sale money
Yep.
for
Yeah.
seed.
Yeah, sure, we
Okay.
can transfer that over, but for now, we'll account for it that way. And then when the sales are over, we can talk about transferring over.
Yeah. Okay, well, I need to go. Is there anything else we really need to talk about right now?
Oh, yeah, good meeting. We covered a lot of ground.
We
So I
certainly have.
want to thank Mary for all your day-to-day work. And
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I want to second that.
yeah, and Ed, I want to thank
Thank
you
you.
for your stewardship over the finances and all that stuff that you're doing behind the scenes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative to have the board that we have. We're very lucky here.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody, for all your support and all that you put into it. It's a lot. So, I don't think we need to go over the events. It's pretty
Okay.
much,
Yeah,
Oh,
you can read
when-
over the events.
Mary, when was that edible, whatever that was?
it was
So that
last
was-
Thursday.
Who put it on?
We did with Tabitha. Tabitha gave a
Oh.
presentation. It was amazing. I'm gonna have it on the website. I just haven't gotten a chance
Okay,
to.
where was it held?
At the Cooperative Extension
Okay.
Office.
Was there a video that we could post?
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a video and there's a presentation. I have it. I just haven't had a chance to get to it. Yep.
Do we have a video section on our site?
No, but we have a YouTube channel, so we
Yeah.
could add a
Link it
link,
over.
we could add a little, yeah, that's a good
Link
idea.
to the YouTube, that's a great idea.
We put some of the 4 and 5 town stuff on there. So add our workshops to YouTube. Okay,
All right,
Okay, well, thanks, everyone.
Yes, thanks.
thank you. Mark, I hope Catherine Fair is okay with her.
before
Yeah.
everybody goes, do you want to schedule the executive session
So that
to
would
talk
come if
about that, or
if
did we get all that squared away?
If the personnel committee is recommending somebody to hire for the intern, then we
Yeah,
need an
then-
executive session.
Got
So we
it.
need a personnel committee action first.
Yes,
Okay, makes
Makes
sense.
sense.
If we
Thank
can
you.
get
Alright.
those people, well, when do you think we can get them to meet us?
Meet us.
The prospective intern candidates.
Oh,
Well, I imagine we're gonna get a lot of inquiries, a lot of applications in
Okay,
with the way
so-
things are going, so I'll
By the
try
end of the
to
month?
get all that information to you, like a summary of applicants, and I'll get it to the hiring committee, like who's applied, and you guys can go through them.
Right. I wonder if this can be done in a week, by the end of the month.
What do we want to set as a goal? Like, what's today?
so today's the
The
23rd.
yes, Wednesday, the 23rd.
I mean,
So-
I think I agree with Ann on this, like as soon as possible, especially if Jeff is still doing the work. This is our chance to actually,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't train somebody to what he does, so who else is gonna do it?
And-
Right.
And something very basic. I mean, Jeff lives in this world every day. I think we need to share with Jeff what our outcome was today. And
Mhm.
he may have a recommendation, or he may have someone in mind.
So if we get the minutes, how
Yeah.
long does it take to get the minutes? And send them to Jeff? Or,
I can send him a transcript of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it a step further. I mean, rather than leave it to chance that he sees it, I'll ask Mary or Mark to do outreach to Jeff, let him know what we decided.
Yeah,
Jeff, this is our intent. And, one, we want your input, and two, we if you have a referral or someone that you prefer to work with, let us know.
yeah.
I agree, but we still have to list it. We're a public organization, right?
Mhm.
Oh, God,
We
yeah.
still
Oh,
have
yeah.
to,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Follow the rules, but
okay,
yeah, I mean, use him as a recruiting tool.
Yeah. And
okay.
it's going to take a week just to get it into the Ellsworth American.
I thought we weren't doing that though, Mark. Just the online.
Yeah,
And-
Just online?
Well,
Yeah,
the Ellsworth American is a lot different than the the BDN because it gets a
Ellsworth
lot more
American,
leadership.
having just done it, I can tell you it's $423.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, with the Ellsworth American.
And plus,
And
we already have
we-
some names floating around.
And we can, we have a big network between,
Yeah.
NACD and MACD and,
Okay,
and
Yeah.
Indeed, I mean, people are looking, so
okay,
Yes.
that's where they usually look.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, good.
So we'll be working online. So we'll do Indeed. We'll have NRCS,
Yeah,
do what they can do with their network. And I think we should contact Maine Association of Nonprofits because that's free. We're members.
Yes.
And it's kind of a select group.
And before we I'll have Jeff review whatever we do and I'll send him a summary of this part of the conversation until the minutes usually take a week or two before,
Yeah.
because it's 2 hours worth of people talking. It's a lot of information.
So I'll try to have a phone conversation with Jeff. Probably
Okay.
not today, maybe tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, thanks.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.